I just want you to know that there is a group, another denomination church that I served quite a bit years ago in Jacksonville, and they rewrote the words to Holy, 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 and I'm not going to sing it for you, so not to worry. But the beginning of it is coffee, coffee, coffee. Anyway, it's not to be abusive. Okay, so yesterday I didn't have any idea what I would talk about today, but yesterday I went to breakfast, and after a lengthy breakfast of chit-chat, we stopped, a friend and I stopped at Walgreens in DeBerry, which is a little south of DeLand, and anyway, some of you know what I'm talking about, and it doesn't really matter. Anyway, there was a Walgreens there, and I asked to stop because I wanted to look for something specific. And so we went into this Walgreens, and we walk in, and I know none of you ever do this, you're right, is the fact that my friend had ended up in the area where all the Christmas goodies are. And I was over looking at soap. Okay, so I had to walk a lot of aisles to find my friend, and I did, and they were looking at the hats and the different things that lit up, and so I found a headband that had a hat on it and lit up, so I knew somebody, a very dear friend who I knew would love to have one of those. Anyway, so I'm standing there, and I didn't need to purchase much of anything now because they didn't have the soap I wanted. And I'm looking at the section where they do the inventions that are on, like infomercials that they go on TV, and they're selling products. So I just want you to know that today's topic is happy comes because nothing's perfect. I've used that topic before because it's a quote that sits in front of me a lot, and I won't tell you where. You can guess. And so now I'm scanning this to see the shavers and the, you know, the things you can drain your lettuce, whatever. Okay, so I come across this thing, and it's a box, and it's down here, and it's wedged in, and I found it. I just found the perfect item, and it is booties that you can wash your floor with. Yes! Well, I did. I didn't buy them, but I just thought, what a wonderful thing. I am not a domestic diva. These will work. You just walk around in them. They got all that cloth on the bottom that looks like a mop, but they're short. And I didn't take them out of the box to try to see what they are. And this is a free advertisement for this product. But I want you to know, Walgreens has it in that section. And if you buy any and you use them, let me know if it works. So happy comes because nothing's perfect. One thing that I've been studying is a teaching on fears and how to be bold. Because a lot of times, and especially at this time of the year, there's so much of opportunity for any of us to touch into the fear of what we don't have, what we should have had, the relationships that didn't work, the job that fell through, the place we moved from, should we have moved, the questioning, the uncertainty. And the thing that has become so apparent to me is the fact that in our society and in our world at this time, there's fear every time you turn around. So I wanted to express something because we're very fortunate in spiritualism and in life that we have a have curiosity, and we have a desire to explore, and we want to discover more. And that's the beauty to me of what we do and how we do it. And so a lot of people get attracted because of the messages. They want to know the future. They want to know how something's going to turn out. And that's very understandable. We all grew up with that. But all of us grew up with also little fears. Little fears. And those little fears are the things that we have every day. And they're very common, not because yours are just like mine, but they're common because every day we can experience them and explore them. One of them, let me just show you this, because this morning I made hard-boiled eggs. I know my culinary skills kind of go along with my domestic capabilities, so humor me here. But I have this wonderful way of making hard-boiled eggs that I learned from a very sweet woman who lived in Casadega for many, many years, and a very noted world astrologer, Reverend Sylvia DeLong. And Sylvia taught me this years ago in our friendship. She just happened to mention it, so I do it every day. Now, if that hasn't created a little mystery for you, okay. Anyway, so now I'm making hard-boiled eggs. And there's part of me that knows that I want to set the timer for 13 minutes. 13, not 12, and not 14. You hear it? Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of people would say, well, it doesn't really matter, I'll just watch the clock. Well, you can say that, but Rosie and I have something in common. It's called old age. Mm-hmm. So it's important that it's 13 minutes. So I set the timer on the stove and went about my business. But you see, I'm partially deaf, and I really am physically partially deaf. And so then I realized that I might not hear the timer when it went ding. And so I thought, oh, okay. So that's a little fear. But then we have the bigger fears. You all are looking like you're bored, so I don't have another joke just yet. Well, what I want to say is all of us have fears. And a lot of people say, well, I'm not afraid of anything, and I go, okay. And then this is the person at the salad bar who doesn't want to have ranch dressing because it has preservatives in it. What's that? What's that? Right there. You see it? All of us, from the time that you're born, are exposed to these things. Whether we take it as meaningful information or whether it becomes a reluctance to do something or experience something because we've learned that that's not necessarily going to be appropriate for us, our bodies, our lives. And so this is also something that occurs when people are learning about spirit. And so the concept about spirit can be just about anything. You can talk with many of the longtime spiritualists in this organization, and they're going to tell you different stories. They're going to tell you different experiences of touching into the other side of life. And there's also the kind of thing where because of prejudice and because of superstition, we've also learned that other people are afraid of it, which is very real, because that's a bigger fear. And how was it placed there? It might be somebody's opinion. It might be somebody else's thinking. It might be something that they've read or something that they're exposed to. So during these times, we have a huge amount of information that we're exposed to on a daily basis. You get in your car and you drive somewhere, because I'm assuming you did that to get here today. Those of you who walk, Good luck on that one. Orlando has altered a great deal in the many years since I lived in it for quite a while, and it's amazing to me. So what happens is we lose amazement, we lose that objectivity, we lose that sense of exploration and discovery because we become reluctant or afraid. And the reason that I'm bringing that up today is happy comes because nothing's perfect. You grew up, and in your childhood there were certain things in the home that you either had to do, should do, or just heard about. Doesn't matter. And as an adult, you have had opportunities to expand your life experiences, and those life experiences have allowed you to develop pros, cons, opinions, concerns, and interests. But a lot of people forget just to make something an interest, and it becomes a real concern, and then they're projecting on it that there's a problem or that there could be. So what happens is I'm looking at booties to wash the floor. One of the very first thought processes, I'm standing in Walgreens, it goes through my thought, okay, am I going to skid across the floor? Or am I going to fall? You hear it? That's a projection. We all have them. You do it all day long. You do it when you read an email, you do it when you're listening to the news, you do it, you do it, you do it, you do it. We project on. And projection isn't good or bad. A projection can be very favorable. But it often is our opinion or our fear coming right on through. And so by the time we had discovered that I wasn't going to buy the booties, that I had talked myself out of them. And why? Why? My kitchen is smaller than the ladies' restroom where the toilet is. Very small. I mean, I could walk 2 feet and be out in another room, so it's okay. But what I'm getting at is in your life, some of the things that you experience, we have small fears and we have big fears. And some of those bigger fears are, and I just want to say this, it would be like here we are and you're living in Florida, right here in the Central Florida area, and you fear volcanoes. Good luck on that one. But we can do that because we're reminded of it, we're shown pictures of it, we view it. We don't want people to be harmed. It has nothing to do with your personal ethics. It has everything to do with what you learn. And what you also learned when you were little. You learn that lions are dangerous, or lions can be dangerous. And yet there's a thing on MSNBC or whatever it is on the computer, and there's somebody having a reunion with a lion, and they're showing them hugging, and I'm going, oh my. So that doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that's that person's experience, and that person in that moment has opportunity to be bold. So how many things in your life have you faced or done that maybe others didn't understand? And the reason I'm saying that is because when I got involved in spiritualism 50-something years ago, you didn't talk about it. You didn't advertise it. You didn't explore discussions with just anybody because of the thinking out there. But if the thinking in here says, you know, this works for me. Wow, how beautiful is that? So one of the things about this time of the year is the fact that the holiday season, regardless of what you believe and what you think the holidays are about, has opportunity for us to explore more, to understand more, and at the same time, we can fear more, because if the job isn't okay or your retirement isn't as clear as you would like it, if somehow there needed to be some change in your home, if somehow there needs to be, sometimes that needs to be is because we don't want to be disapproved of out here. Fears are so common, and that's why I'm bringing this topic up. They're common, they're not unusual. But so many things that you have done have gone to making opportunities occur for you that were actually very bold. Very bold. And yet the world or other people, your family, your friends, your partner, your spouse, doesn't matter, they might not have agreed with you. That has a whole different ramification for you. But at the same time, the amazing thing is you did what you did. I moved from here, Orlando, out to Phoenix, where I had grown up, and went on from there to Los Angeles. I drove into Los Angeles, never having been there. This was in the 70s, early 70s. And towing a trailer that had my worldly goods, you know, that broken down dresser with the warped mirror, that one. Boxes of books, because I was so studious. And anybody who knows me knows I read romance novels. But I had a lot of books, and books on spiritualism, and books on meditation, and they weren't as extensive as in your beautiful bookstore here, because there weren't as many available, actually. And the neat thing is there's so much available now. But while I'm driving into Los Angeles, the trailer on the back of my car, which technically was a car that didn't tow trailers, she said. So the trailer is now jackknifing, because if you've ever been on the freeways in Los Angeles, they kind of roll. I got nodding here. I'm going to pay him later. Anyway, so I am repeating an affirmation that I have, that I learned many years ago, and it became like a mantra as I'm driving through Los Angeles to try to figure out where I'm going, because I was going to end up at a house in some place, and this is before GPS and before cell phones, and I mean, really? I did that. Would I do that now? Well, maybe not. What have you done? What job did you apply for that wasn't really, and it turned out to be exceptionally, really unusual and different? What relationship did you establish, whether it was a friendship or romantic or whatever, and you decided to get involved in it because you just knew you could, and you felt drawn to do so? There's been a tremendous amount in my life that I withheld. Years of not doing this and not pursuing that because I felt shy. Oh, really, I could be shy. And also because of not wanting people out there to not like me or to not appreciate what I could do, and whose opinions are those? And whose opinions did you learn? And that isn't a flaw, it's just part of those little fears and big fears. I'm not here telling you you have to get rid of anything. But what I am saying to you is, your powers of observation of you and your life are the same powers of observation that you have to use in meditation. They are the same powers of observation that can have an impression, that can feel inspired, because you have 6 senses. And sometimes we don't see something clairvoyant. Sometimes you just get a strong knowing or a feeling to do something. And yet, how many things have occurred in your life that you withheld you from because there was a little part of you uncertain about the result? That's very common. The result of the booties, just saying, would have been an exceptionally clean floor. And then I could come tell Annette, who is this domestic goddess, I could tell Annette about how I washed the floor wearing these booties. And I'm sure, even though I didn't pick the box up and read the back and delve into the information about them, I'm sure you could wash them. Don't you see? She's not impressed. So, happy comes in life because nothing's perfect. Have you ever noticed when you want to get all dressed for something real special, and there's just one thing that's not working out? Or there's just one thing that doesn't feel quite right? Or there's just one thing? Well, and that happens on a bigger scale in relationships. How many relationships have you not gotten involved with in a deeper level because you were afraid to take that step? You were afraid to embark on the possibility of being hurt. That's a good one. Or you didn't know if the person even liked you. Or, see all the choices, and we have them at every turn. So one of the beauties of feeling that you have inspiration, whether it's a totalness from the infinite, or whether it's a specific spirit guide or entity that you believe in, is a wonderful opportunity for that inspiration to encourage you forward in some way. And that's one reason why, you ready? Your fears change every day. You get new ones and old ones. Friend Joy in the back drove today, and we ended up, I thought we were going to be in Bislow. Just saying. I was really grateful that it wasn't me, because I knew that if I had driven myself here, that I would still be looking around at the detours, trying to figure out where we were. And I remarked in the car that some years ago, if that had occurred, where I looked at the clock and I knew I needed to be here, and I was going to be late. And years ago, if I went through that, I would get tense and irritable, bark at whoever was driving like it was all their fault. I mean, and I just sat there, and we watched 2 cars stop in front of us on somewhere where they had the speed bumps in the neighborhood over here, over wherever we were. And we're sitting there, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, and I'm watching the clock on the dash just turn over to another minute, turn over to another minute. And I'm just sitting there because my realization is I'm going to get there when I get there. Did you learn that one? Have you learned that one? Or does that old little fear come bubbling up and kind of perk? And so then people get on their cell phones and call, and they get the chaos and confusion of the moment gets bigger and bigger and bigger. We're all going to observe holiday more and more this month. More and more. And I just want to tell you that there are a lot of people that are hurting. There are a lot of people that are afraid they won't have the money for gifts, or they won't be able to pay their mortgage, or maybe they've lost a job. There's a lot of changes happening. We can't heal all of those, not all at once. But what we can do is live our truth. And if you observe in yourself a fear or reluctance, I noticed that in the ladies' restroom by the sink, the lotion says firming. Watch it, watch it. So, luckily there's not a bathtub in here. However, I was in TJ Maxx with a friend on Thursday, and she was buying things, and me, I was just exploring what was on the shelves, and I was having fun. And I brought her all kinds of unusual things to look at. And she ended up buying a few of them, which was